ICANN session over at the Church Center, and they were talking about certain sections within the draft document. And there seem to be sections that's 2 to 5 that are dealing with compensation, but it seems as though they're not dealing, I presume the compensation is for what has already happened, not about the future, what sort of compensation is going to be perceived to be necessary, because I think what those sections should be dealing with is the prevention so this never happens again. And I was a little puzzled because the section seems somewhat as though they're talking about, well, what will be the compensation in the future? I think that would be flawed, because we've got to make sure there's a precaution principle and this will never happen again.
I think maybe your question is best answered at our last panel, because that's when we're actually going to talk about what's going on at the UN, if it's okay. But great for making the statement. Emmy?
Hi, I'm Emmy, and I'm a member of this meeting, and we have had Ambachi here twice over the past several years. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you for sharing. And I'm just wondering if maybe you all can talk about how allied communities can support the work and take it out in our communities. I think it's very important for all people who have suffered as a result of white supremacy to be working together and supporting each other.
Okay, so how about we get 2 answers? Is that okay? Quick answers? I'm going to start with Aaron and then you pass it on.
Great question. I think, especially right now, the silos that we've been in are being broken because we see the connections also between not only our history, but also the current condition that our communities are facing. Maybe one of the primary things that we can do, especially when it comes to violence, is like preventing immediate violence on our communities, right? So what does it mean to connect the anti-war movement with like the police brutality movement, right? And to make sure that people in both spaces are working together to prevent further violence in our communities. What does it mean to bring indigenous communities into that fight to ensure that we know, like even as immigrants, we're imposing ourselves on land that doesn't belong to us, right? Even having that knowledge is very important. So I think some of that work is already happening under our current administration, where people are noticing we can't do this alone, we can't continue to work in silos. We need each other to like understand our own struggles and also to move forward. So I think some of that is already happening.
And I believe that as indigenous people, we've gone and know 4 levels of existence that have already come to an end, and this existence is coming to an end as far as Mother Earth cleansing herself. So the preparation is for us to be prepared for survival. And how do we love each other, to have food for each other, to have compassion for each other, to support each other, and to know that the culture of violence creates animosity between groups in order for us to be preoccupied with self-harm or self-hate, and then they still go ahead and do what they need to do to have all the land, all the amenities that they need in order to perpetuate their cultural violence. So it behooves us to know what it is that we value in our relational existence on this Mother Earth right now.
All right, thank you. So Ariel, do you want to come a little bit forward? We have a lot of support here, but it might make it really...
Thank you very much. First, I would like to thank you for the work that you've done with your life to make the humanitarian consequences of all these aggressions known to people. I know it must be quite hard to testify always about that, but it's very necessary, and I think that's because of this work that we are now about to have a ban on nuclear weapons. So I'm sorry, I have two questions. One is for you. I've seen many different figures about the number of victims of drones. So I would like to know if you have an idea of what is really happening, what is happening, because it's very hard to really know the truth about that. And I would like to know about the Marshall Islands. How would the case be reopened in a way by the Ban Convention, and how do you feel the Ban Convention as being sort of an answer to the case that you put forward on the International Court of Justice? So not an answer, but let's say at least a benefit from all this advocacy. I would like to know where it is and how we're going to go forward.
Thank you, Ariel. Because of time, I'm going to have to ask you, Ariel, to talk with Aaron after the panel when we have our break. And I'm going to give this to Tina to talk about the Marshall Islands and how you feel about the ban and how it affects.
I'm going to actually look to somebody in our audience who probably is better qualified to answer that question than myself. Although there was some discussion when I was back to this conference. But John Rose, would you like to step in on that?
Again, as moderator, John, you're going to have a chance to talk at the... Okay, yeah, I know that we're running a little bit late, so you are going to get the answer, Ariel. You're going to have to stay longer. So